Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Trump Tyranny Track on Monday, August the 4th. It's good to be with you. Olga and I were just talking about this interesting Medvedev comment that has come out about Trump. And as she often does, she got stuck in a rabbit hole just before we got into the air here about trying to figure out what's going on. So you know more about the story than I do. Tell me what's the comment and what's he alleged to have said and what did you find out?
So this is like my typical day. All day I get stuck in rabbit holes. So a friend of mine commented, I made a comment this morning to her that, oh, look, Dima, which is Medvedev, is quiet the past few days ever since that nuclear submarine threat. Um, so she was like, oh, no, he mentioned something about Epstein and basically threatened Trump. So after I finished what I was doing, I went on Twitter and look, and sure enough, there was a comment attributed to him that basically he threatened that Russia has as much as Mossad on Trump with Epstein and his other sexual
Hmm.
activities. So I was like, where did this, come from? So I started tracing it back on Twitter. It originated with a Turkish account and it was written in Turkey. And somehow everyone knew to hit translate and, that this was referring to Trump. Um, so it went that way. But then I wanted to see in Russian news, like, where is this Medvedev comment? Because I have not seen any statements from him at all. And I go back to this Israeli front website in Russian, which had this article attributing the comment to him. And then I trade that Israeli website back to a Live Journal account. There's literally two places that mention this quote. And this Israeli website went back to a Live Journal, which is like a Russian, like, I guess, medium platform. Um, and to an account to this guy who runs this, it looks like he runs this Israeli site, but it's in Russian. And he's listed in Belarus. So nothing to Medvedev. I did not see. I checked partial quotes, any kind of statements, anything Medvedev related. I have not seen any statements in Russian press of him making anything. But what it looks like is that the Russians are sending through their information operations a message to Trump using these, like bots and trolls and, third party sites. And interestingly enough, I mean, it gained a lot of traction. Even people like on Twitter who should know better commented on it, taking it as fact without even checking, like, did
Even if it
Medvedev.
doesn't come from Medvedev, it's still coming from the Russians, most likely. So, does it really make a difference if it's coming from Medvedev's official account or whether it's coming through the obscure intelligence networks?
But that's the difference because here, instead of him making a comment directly or any Russian official making a comment directly, they used an information operation to send it through. Link back through this thing to connect it to a Turkish account and then to make sure that it gets out in every single language. I even saw Iranian accounts who picked up on this and were pushing it. So it was
So
fascinating.
interesting. It's so
Yeah.
interesting that you're able to see the entire network distribution of
Well,
a
that's
statement
how.
like this, of a disinformation statement, because this is what you do, obviously, and this is what I do some of the time. But it's so great to see your mind at work and to see how you've navigated all these different paths to find out the source of this. But you still think it came from the Russians, even though it sort of
Yeah,
has meandered.
definitely came from the Russians, and it looks like it was their backhanded way of sending a message to Trump while not using any kind of official Kremlin statements. And yeah,
Right.
I mean, I always reverse engineer operations. I've done this for over a decade since 2015 when Russia shifted their information operations on US. I would see things, and a lot of times I would see things in the far right and then reverse engineer it back to where the root of it. Sometimes I would see things percolating in Russia and warn that this is coming down the pipeline and it'll go either through the far left or the far right, because depending on what the narrative is, Russia uses both extremes to push it out. So anything CIA related, deep state related, for the most part, they used to send out through the far left. Recently, they shifted now to send it out through both avenues. But it was fascinating. So that was my
This
morning.
is all happening on the background of Witkoff having a meeting with the Russians
That's
in Moscow.
another one.
Yeah. And so there's a lot going on. And of course, the threat of new sanctions against Russia from the United States and India as for selling those or buying that oil. It's a lot of interesting terrain for us to cover the next few days. But let's get into the Trump tyranny tracker for
To
today.
get back to
Oh, no, I
Witkoff,
thought
that's another rabbit hole.
you go.
The Russians' state media reported on Saturday that
Yeah.
he arrived and that he was planned to have meetings yesterday. So yesterday, I'm checking their news all day. No mention of him. I'm like, maybe they threw him in the volcano that's erupting now. Well, several of them. Nothing. And then last night, it comes out he's not even there, and I'm like, what? Like, why
Oh,
would Russia report he's there, but then not report? But then, no, it came out here that he's not even there. He's back in U.S. So another bizarre Russia related.
mystery from this White House. Not surprising, but it's the threats are coming. The deadline is still coming for the sanctions. We'll see how that develops. It's day 196 of the Trump administration, and this is the Trump tyranny tracker. The Justice Department is demanding voter registration lists and election records from at least 19 states, including historical election data. DOJ lawyers are simultaneously pressuring states to enter information sharing agreements to investigate alleged voter fraud, a move critics describe as federal intimidation of state election officials that overreaches constitutional authority. This is very serious. This attack on states running the elections is becoming quite serious.
Yeah, so we've covered it over the past several weeks. And now the latest is that 19 states are being targeted, and they want not only their voter roll, they want all historical election data. We know where this is going, and it's part of, also intimidating officials, because at the same time, a few weeks ago, we covered on the tracker that their Department of Justice is also threatening to prosecute election officials. So the fact that they are, this is an unprecedented overreach from the federal government to demand all this information to be delivered to them. And in Colorado, they even demanded access to the voting machines. So you see them now, not only wanting voter rolls and historical data and everything surrounding state, election procedures, databases, but they also want access to the voting machines. So it's disturbing.
It's very disturbing. This election is going to be very, very interesting to see if we get a free and fair election. Moving to Texas, where Governor Greg Abbott has escalated redistricting tensions by threatening court action to remove Democratic lawmakers who fled the state to block GOP congressional map changes. Abbott has launched a $750,000 ad campaign and warned Democrats that they could face criminal charges or dereliction of duty as he pushes for a map that would give them 5 new GOP seats in Congress in the state. That is, just unbelievable.
I've always said, going back to 2016, 17, that like the two incubators in of authoritarianism in the US is Texas and Florida, because this is really not democratic. The fact to threaten to remove Democratic Congress people out of the state houses, to threaten to prosecute them. This is not something that is normal. I know that Pritzker, they left and went to Illinois. Pritzker has made a statement yesterday that he will shield them, make sure and try to protect them, at least there, from arrest. But the whole thing, the showdown is incredible, and we'll see what happens and what the courts ultimately decide if Abbott seeks to remove
We've seen
these
something very
members.
similar before during the last time round, and the Democrats won that particular round. Let's see if they can do it again using the same tactics of leaving state. But the laws have changed in Texas, which actually gives the the Abbott government there a lot more leeway in terms of what they can do against the Democrats. So we'll watch that story carefully in the next few days. Palantir, co-founded by Trump ally co-founded by Trump ally Peter Thiel, has secured $113 million in new federal contracts and $370 million in additional revenue. As other government contractors lose billions in federal business, Palantir is partnering with them to deploy its surveillance software across agencies from the IRS to the Pentagon, effectively consolidating control over vast amounts of data. This is, we've been talking about this for a long time now. The surveillance state is here.
Yeah, and this is exactly what they're doing, and they're growing inside all the agencies. They have taken, data from every single agency, and I mean, we've talked about countless times that they are fusing this data together. And once they fuse the data together, it can, basically create a centralized system. At the same time, we've seen harassment by federal agencies demanding state data, driver's licenses, Medicaid data, and they want to tap into state databases, which the states are pushing back and suing. But this is very troubling because here you have this one company, that really has grown its reach to within the government so deep. So not even to mention the corruption aspect of how much they donated to Trump and Republicans and are continuing to do it and are receiving contracts as a result. But you also have their growing influence inside of the government, putting this data together, assisting ICE. And right now, as I keep saying, these surveillance tactics are being used for ICE, but they are the test case and it will be expanded to the rest of us. So.
And it does give them enormous power, as you pointed. This is a corporation, publicly traded corporation, which has enormous access to all this data. Now, of course, they're going to be interested in increasing their share prices. Of course, they're going to be interested in, gaining more customers. That's going to require them to go deeper and deeper into that data to make analysis and make sales to their customers who are purchasers of this data. So, we really are talking about the leveraging of government data, people's data, the American people's data, in a corporate way into in the public sector. I mean, it's just in the private sector. This is very serious to have a shadow government like this almost forming that has all this access to all this data about everybody, and it's publicly traded.
Yeah, and that it could weaponize against, any of us.
Yeah.
When it comes to it, right now they are weaponizing it against immigrants, and again, it will expand. An interesting tidbit: guess where our buddy Theo was? He was meeting with Orban. So you have him like straightly going to directly to the Russian pipeline, and it was him and the former Austrian Chancellor Kurz, the Nazi-linked one that
Yeah.
who became popular amongst the far right during Trump 1.0. But this really, we need to put pressure on the states to sue Palantir, to sue the federal government for this, because there is absolutely no need that one contractor can have this amount of data. And I mean, even for national security purposes, forget even weaponizing against us. The fact you have Musk who had all this data, you have Theo who has all this data. I mean, what if, first of all, they're not, they are not for democracy. What if tomorrow they go and sell this to Russia, to China, to any country around the world? They could sell bits and pieces of our data. So this is extremely something that we really need to push back on, and we can do it through the state and also by, harassing the Congress people
Yeah.
and asking them to put, like, what are you doing about this? Because we did not sign up to volunteer all our data from every single agency to hand it to Palantir.
Well, this has come up recently with that letter that they sent Palantir, the congressional members. It's interesting to see if they've got a response, and I'll look into that. I'll give them a call and see if we can find out whether they got a response to that. Moving to our next story, a watchdog group has referred former FBI Director Christopher Wray to the Justice Department for allegedly lying to Congress about an FBI memo targeting Catholics as potential extremists. The referral claims Wray misled lawmakers about the memo's scope and impact during congressional testimony. And the witch hunt continues, right? We're just seeing more and more of it.
It's escalating now that Trump has his people set. You see this now snowballing, and it's just going to get worse and worse. Interestingly, the only or the one who broke this story and where I really saw it meanly is Fox News. So they got that exclusive. But yeah, you're going to see this continuation of Trump's retribution agenda and using our agencies, whether it's IRS, Department of Justice, Department of Homeland Security, whatever it is, to go after his critics. And so far, we have Adam Schiff on the list for quote unquote mortgage fraud. Letitia James in New York being under investigation, quote unquote mortgage fraud. Act Blue, Indivisible, Chris Krebs from cybersecurity, Miles Taylor. I mean, the list is on and on. It's growing. And literally, what they promised is what they are delivering. I mean, they didn't hide any of this.
Didn't Donald Trump appoint Ray? I think he did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Well,
all these great people that he hired seem to be doing some terrible things.
he appointed Powell, and he's under investigation
Yeah,
for
true.
construction of the Federal Reserve. And, Trump even gaslit us by saying that, this is Powell with Biden's bad mistake. So,
Staying on the same theme, the U.S. Office of Special Counsel has opened a Hatch Act inquiry into former DOJ Special Counsel Jack Smith, who prosecuted Trump over January the 6th and classified documents. Republican Senator Tom Cotton pushed for the probe, alleging that Smith interfered with the 2024 elections. Smith resigned in January before either case reached trial. It's a funny thing to suggest that he actually hurt the Trump agenda. I think he probably helped the Trump agenda.
he probably helped the Trump agenda, but I mean, aside from anything, I
Yeah.
can promise if anybody not named Trump walked out with one classified document, never mind boxes sitting in a ballroom and toilet, one, they would be arrested, prosecuted, and in jail. And since that investigation started on Trump, there have been several DOJ cases of people who took classified information and are serving time. It already got adjudicated and are serving time, and that's it. And here you have Trump continuing his retribution tour. And again, what is more infuriating is, I always say Trump, 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 but this is not Trump. This is Republicans. Republicans are allowing him to do this. They are participating either actively or they're allowing him by staying silent. And, silence is complicity. So, I mean, when you have Congress gone. I mean, I used to joke back in the day, and I'm not now. It's no longer a joke that the Republican Party is like Putin's United Russia. Now they really are like Putin's United Russia, rubber stamping everything, carrying out, Trump's agenda, doing everything in order to maintain power. So none of this would have been possible if Congress actually did their job and pushed back against these unlawful acts and the weaponization of all our agencies.
The Hatch Act is all about, selling stuff, I guess, when you're in office, is making money off. How does that apply to this particular prosecution? It's so confusing to me, and some people are mentioning it here in the chat. What exactly is I mean, maybe you don't even know this, but what are they
Well,
trying to
the
suggest he
Hatch
did?
Act is more for interference. It's not as
Mm,
much selling, it's for interference. And for instance, someone during Trump 1.0, when he was, how you call it, which Trump, by the way, violated the Hatch Act a million times. When he was serving in the transition committee and when Obama had put sanctions on Russia and kicked out the Russian spies and seized their property in Long Island, Trump having a backdoor dealings with Russia, promising like don't
yeah,
retaliate,
right.
is a violation of the Hatch Act. So the Hatch Act is when you have someone who is interfering with current foreign policy, U.S. policy, domestic and foreign. So I guess they're investigating under this. Trump, I mean, I can carry on. We could have a whole series on how last year, as Biden was carrying out his foreign policy objectives, Trump was, inviting Netanyahu and Orban and this one and
Yeah, I
doing
was visiting
everything.
with Macron, I think.
Yeah. So
So,
exactly. So I mean,
yeah, who
here we
knows?
are.
We'll look into who knows what the logic is for their prosecution, but the key is that they're weaponizing every aspect of the DOJ and every law that they can find against Democrats who have been, and just public officials who have been doing their job for so long. It's just, it's a complete weaponization of the system, which is not intended to be, of course, that way. That is the 5 stack today. We should remind everyone we'll be back tomorrow, Tuesday.
Tyranny tracker. Your
I'm
five
sorry.
seconds in
I'm sorry.
30,
I'm sorry. It's been
30.
that kind of day. It's a Trump tyranny tracker. And we'll be back tomorrow with Authoritarianism 101 at 8 p.m., which was our 8th session. It's our 7th.
11th.
11th session.
10. Oh
No.
boy. It is our 10th session. We had session 9 last week. This
I'm
week.
sorry. I must be living in a different
We are.
universe.
Forgive us. It's Monday and it's
Yeah. What's
we're
tomorrow? You tell me what's up tomorrow with our
so
session tomorrow.
tomorrow we're gonna look at how dictators hijack cultural institutions and hate call and delve into that aspect, which actually can't come at a better time because Congress is attempting to rename Kennedy Center after Melania Trump, um, after them seizing the Kennedy Center. So
Or a
we'll be
contribution to the
looking.
arts and culture of America?
Yeah,
It,
exactly. So we'll go through that and also talk a little bit about oligarchy, which we see taking shape here. And that's it. And also just one thing. I launched a new series with Julie Roginski. Our new installment is out today. We dropped it this
oh,
morning.
God, I'm excited to
So
read that. This is all about the
yeah.
2016 election and how Russia interfered on behalf of Donald Trump. It's a very, very important series you're doing, and I'm so glad you're doing it because I think it's going to become an even bigger issue as we proceed down this weaponization of the Justice Department. One programming note for me, there's no 5 stack today, actually, but there will be a 7:00 p.m.
You just had
special.
it here.
You just had it here. That it's at 7 p.m. tonight. I'm sitting down with Vicky Ward at a Substack Live, and we're going to compare notes on Epstein. She's got a lot of interesting research and books that she's done about it. I have my own thoughts, and it'll be interesting to see how they correlate and where they don't. So I hope everyone joins us. It's Vicky Ward and me at Substack Live tonight at 7 p.m.
Nice.
And that is the Trump Tyranny Tracker today. We shall see you again tomorrow, Olga. And I'm sure I'll get my facts right. It won't be the 5 stack.
Oh, trust me, I'm with you today. I'm exhausted and I worked all weekend and that's it. My brain is in
I
the
hear you.
same
I hear you.
putting pieces together.
It's all we do. Thanks,
Wait,
everybody.
someone asked
Yeah.
7 p.m. Eastern time.
Eastern time, yes. Eastern time.
Okay,
Yeah.
Eastern time. All
I'm
right.
looking forward to that. Okay. Cheers, everyone. And have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow, Olga. Bye.
Bye.